What's going on, my broskies? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. And today we have a little bit of a delayed tier list video. So today we're doing the tier list for the month of November, but because we had a little bit of a delay for the release of this video, we actually have more characters than usual that we can talk about. So just very briefly, this is just the last month's tier list that I had at the very end of the video. So we're going to be making some changes and also with some additions of some new characters. We have all the way from Hina's release, 6+ Blackbeard, Korra Law, the 6+ Halloween Ace, K-Dad, Orochi, and also the newly revealed 8.5 anniversary Zoro character, as well as the level limit breaks for some of these old school characters and seeing if they make the cut. Now, just very briefly before we get into the video, I need to talk about my criteria, I suppose, for how I kind of level up all of these characters together towards each other. So, of course, there is the power of the unit and how much damage that they can output. What is the speed of the character? How fast can they clear that content? And how reliable are they at clearing the content? Is there content that they cannot beat as a captain just due to the design of the character? And how usable or versatile is that character? Can they be injected into various teams where they're not even boosted in some cases and still provide a lot of great benefits to your crew? If that's the case, that definitely propels the character up a lot higher than where they really should be. So let's just talk about some of the characters here, because like there's a lot of characters that don't really need to be here anymore. Like Komurosaki, she's good, but she's not like super amazing. Rob and Jinbei, I don't know why they're down here. They should be way up here, to be honest. They should be like almost in tier 2, I think, just because of how good their special ability is. As a captain, probably not the best, but amazing crewmates. Like honestly, like levels of Shirahoshi Manchiri V2 good, I would say. I'm going to put them up at tier 1, to be honest. Like they've been so useful as of late. They have amazing supports, being able to use Jinbei and Robin supports together. Also the film Red Brook that came out recently, you can put that on that character as well to give you more damage increase or further attack down removal. Just an absurd character, really. Like Rob and Jinbei are so good. I don't know why I had them so low, to be honest. It just doesn't really make a lot of sense. Like V1 Robin, no, she doesn't really deserve to be here, in my opinion. I'm not a big fan of this Usopp, to be honest. Rogue doesn't really deserve to be here. Like old school Magellan probably doesn't deserve. We're making the cuts today, boys. Barto is pretty terrible still. Cavendish isn't very usable. I'm still kind of happy with these characters. Garp probably is a lot lower. He's not that amazing. Tesoro, I think, is still pretty good. He probably deserves to be up a little bit more. What else have we got in here? We got a lot of the other level limit breaks in here. These level limit breaks are actually pretty good, though. I can't wait to see Lucy's level limit break. That's going to be pretty amazing eventually. We got the Kaido crew. We got Marco, V1 Fuji, like Garp from last month. Shout out to Garp. He's trying his best, but he's just not all that. It's going to be interesting as well, because I'm recording this video on the 9th of November. Currently, we don't know what the 6+ of the month is going to be, so that's going to be interesting to see what they select, because a lot of people had theories that this super type Katakuri may be the super evolution this month. I hope that's the case, giving my boy Mr. Slam Jam the love. But in terms of characters that need to move, I feel pretty comfortable with these characters, at least right now. Brook is very good for Grand Voyage, but not really good in a lot of content, unfortunately. Halloween Hybrids versus Kaido versus Big Mom, they really should be a bit lower, I think. I kind of want to put them a bit lower. I kind of want to put them like Carrot being a little bit higher than them, to be honest. They're really not that good. They're fine. Like they're still 5 times captains at the end of the day to a few different colors. They're still like multi-turn attack / orb boosters. They're fine, but they're not all that. And then we've got tier 2, we got like Kuzan level limit break, which is very, very good. Unfortunately, mine isn't max, so I haven't had an opportunity to use him yet. On paper, seems very, very good though. Smoothie's okay still. Luckily, she boosts Powerhouse and requires Powerhouse for her gimmicks and stuff, because Powerhouse are actually still very, very good. Kinemon Denjiro, I'm not a big fan of Kinemon Denjiro, but they've got good utility and they're still like fine. You can use them in content for sure. Zoro and Sanji, we got Black Maria, Ben Beckman, Lucky Root, amazing units. And then we got the tier 0 up here, like the tippity top here. I don't know if I want to make any changes here specifically. Frankie Tanky probably, actually, you know, Wybid versus Shanks probably doesn't deserve to be this high. I think I would probably put them, I feel comfortable leaving them around here. Shirahoshi Manchiri, I think this might be one of the first times I'm going to actually drop her down. I think I'm going to drop her down and put it the same level as Robin and Jinbei. But the rest of the characters at the top here, they're all really strong. I don't like dual units that much, which is why I rank them a little bit lower. Ace and Yamato are a bit of an exception, though. Same as Sabo and Ace. Frankie Tanky, still very good for the Grand Voyage versus Kuro. If you guys haven't beaten that yet, Frankie Tanky is going to be very good for that. My boy Mr. Slam Jam, 6+ Katakuri, he's an absolute beast. If you don't think he is, then you're wrong, because he's very good. V1 Roger, shout out to the Grand Party, man. He's been an absolute homie for the Grand Party, that's for sure. But honestly, looking towards the top 5 and the top of tier 0, I'm pretty comfortable with all of these positions. You could maybe put Shanks a little bit lower than Ace versus Akainu. I'd say it's really up to the individual, and I wouldn't be too mad if people rank Shanks a lot higher than what he is. Just there's a lot of gimmicks where you can come up against it and like he's literally useless. So that's why I probably rank him a little bit lower. If you're looking at content as a whole, yeah, he's definitely going to have some falls, but across the board, if you do have so much content with full immunity, it's going to really hurt the character, I feel, considering he is basically a mono quick captain. Law's super good, Snake Man's great, Yamato is still very good. I think a lot of people would probably rank her a little bit lower these days, but I still respect what she can do. She's fantastic. And then we've got the Super Tandem Luffy. Honestly, I'm going to put Super Tandem Luffy above Ace and Yamato. I've used all of these characters so much more over Ace and Yamato, especially mainly like Super Boss Kizuna. Having these characters for Super Boss Kizuna is very good. Roger Whitebeard doesn't see too much play in Super Boss Kizuna these days, but their switch effect is just so insane. They can be put on essentially any team to help you clear it a lot easier, which is really cool. I still think Kaido is the best legend in the game right now, but you know, that's probably a little bit of bias on my end because I'm a huge fan of this unit. I think he's definitely my favorite unit in the game right now. But now that we've kind of had a look at these tiers, let's actually let's have a look at some of these level limit breaks. So we've got Cat Dog. I think Cat Dog, what they received was pretty decent, but do they deserve to go up into at least onto the tier list in any sense? They probably do. I think that they do definitely deserve to be on here. I think that wherever you place one, you probably place the other. They're very close to each other in my opinion. I think they'll be at the top of this tier for now because they got very good utility buffs and they basically boost a whole separate color now for each of these units, which is kind of cool, but they're probably not going to see a lot of play as captains, mainly as crewmates, unfortunately. We've got the Slashers of V2 Zoro and V2 Mihawk. I think both of these characters both received very good buffs. I think they deserve to be on here. I think that they're better than the Dog Storm and Cat Viper in terms of their buffs, but I don't think it doesn't really go much higher than that. I think they're probably, I think that the buffs that Hody got are probably a little bit more powerful. I actually want to put Hody up a bit higher. I think he deserves to be around here. Whitebeard is not as good as what I originally thought. I haven't had a chance to try Log Luffy yet. I really want to try him out when I get him maxed. But Hody Jones being able to boost shoot and powerhouse is a big buff to him, so I probably would rank him a little bit higher. But then these guys being essentially still mono slasher, there's still a little bit of issues with Zoro in terms of the way that he's designed, and Mihawk being a chain captain. I'm not the biggest fan of chain captains, but in terms of the buffs that the characters received, I'm a bigger fan of what Mihawk got compared to Zoro. I think Mihawk's buffs are very good. It's just personally, I'm not a big fan of the chain boosting captains. And then the final character before we talk about the new additions to the tier list, we have Cracker. Now Cracker originally was in tier 5. He was around this position right here, and the thing is they really didn't give him amazing buffs. He probably just jumps to the top of this tier. There's probably been the biggest level limit break disappointment since the inception of level limit break, because they didn't really change anything. They just upped his numbers essentially. Now I say that verbatim, but he did get some slight changes, but they're not that notable. So unfortunately Cracker really got a bad deal with level limit break. I really hope we get a V2 Cracker at some point that can utilize his Devil Fruit a bit more, become a more defensive style unit. I think that'd be very interesting if they went down that route, so hopefully that happens in the future. But now we have a bunch of brand new legends to talk about and add to the list. The first one is Hina. All these characters pretty much came out when I was over in the United States, and Hina came out while I was still in New York, I think. Yeah, when I was in New York at New York Comic-Con is when she actually came out, and Hina is very powerful. I'm really surprised that Hina was the choice to be the legend for that month, for the treasure map specifically. Very odd choice, But despite that, I think it's a good choice because obviously Hina doesn't have a lot of representation in the game. So I think that if they give these legends that not a lot of people would have expected a little bit more representation and give them really cool, unique abilities, it's gonna really help those people that actually do pull those units to build more unique and divisive teams, utilizing these really oddball characters that don't have a lot of representation, which frees up a lot of space for other supports or using other different characters. And Hina's abilities are really cool. You know, the all blocking captain effect is super cool, and she boosts both striker and cerebral. She does kind of boost quick as well, but I think if you're using Hina, you're probably building like a class-based team rather than a colored team. But despite all that, I think that her buffs are still very good. I think I'm going to put her around this level in tier 1. I think she's incredibly powerful and is definitely going to see a lot of play moving forward. Next, we have the 6+ super type Blackbeard, a very, very cool addition to the 6+ library. I think that his buffs that he received, including the level limit breaks, are also very, very good. I think a lot of people are still going to draw comparisons to the super tandem Blackbeard, more specifically in Pirate Rumble, because a lot of people are going to have that opinion, you know, should I be using the super type Blackbeard or the super tandem Blackbeard in Pirate Rumble, because they're both int and they're both driven in Powerhouse, and their Pirate Rumble abilities do have some overlap here and there, but super tandem Blackbeard, in my opinion, is still a better unit overall. But the thing about this Blackbeard is that he has very unique abilities that only he has. More specifically, talking about his super type effect that can remove all enemies' beneficial effects by 1. It's very powerful, and you can use it in really cool circumstances to just straight up get around annoying gimmicks that you would have to either stall or delay the enemy to get around otherwise. So I really like what this Blackbeard has, and now that he boosts strength units too with his super evolution, it's a really nice change, and he can definitely see a lot of play as a crewmate just by using one special and just auto killing essentially any side boss you come up against. It is pretty cool. So Blackbeard is, you gotta respect what he can do for sure, and I think he does deserve to be around this level. I think I would probably put him around here for now, because I don't think he's gonna see too much play, but there's gonna be niche circumstances where you really want to have this guy. Next, we have Law and Corazon. Shout out to my girl Karissa, who was absolutely fangirling when she saw the Corazon and Law character as the Halloween special character for the month. Look, unfortunately, I'm personally not the biggest fan of Law and Corazon. Like, if I'm going to build a cerebral team, I'm using Uta 10 times out of 10 in a lot of circumstances. The only time I would really go out of my way to use Law and Corazon is if I have to deal with really annoying slots, and I mean, still, there's a lot of ways to get around that even, but still, Law and Corazon, they have a lot of amazing gimmicks with them, with the empty slots of really, really cool, unique abilities that only they get access to. They've got a really cool support as well that can attach to your cerebral characters. Unfortunately, their Rumble abilities definitely fall short. I don't think this character is going to see a lot of play, but I think, once again, if you have this character, you're going to be rewarded later on down the line for sure, because of some unique abilities that this character only really has access to. So I do think he deserves to be probably in tier 2, because he is still a cerebral captain. He has a great special ability still. He has a pretty interesting, unique super class special as well. I think that he deserves to still be around this level, probably a little bit more useful than Blackbeard, I think, just because of the uniqueness factor. But overall, Law and Corazon are a very fun unit. Halloween Ace was a very big surprise to the community. I don't think too many people would have predicted that we were going to be receiving another 6+ in the month of October, let alone it being one of the ones that people wanted to see the most, being Halloween Ace. And I think that what they gave him was very interesting. The fact that he now has the ability to buff orb boosts and to buff your chain multiplier buffs. He's now an attack booster. Well, he's still an attack booster, but he provides a color affinity boost as well. And the biggest change, I would say, is the fact that instead of just boosting fighters and shooters, he now also boosts int characters as well. So that is a massive library of characters that this character can now get access to. The attack boost and the color affinity that he provides in his special also boost int as well. So massive changes across the board for this character for the better, that is for sure. I definitely think he is probably one of the premier characters in the game. I think he deserves to be in tier 0, and I think that the main reason why I think that is because of his ability to get around so many annoying gimmicks with his special reverse and special bind removal in his captain effect. That is going to carry him a long way through content, and again, a really powerful uniqueness factor. He's his crew's dedicated attack attack booster. You can also get the ability to remove bind with his special as well. This ace is just a phenomenal character, and he's going to see a lot of play in my opinion, mainly due to that really powerful unique captain ability effect. I think I'm going to leave K-Dad for now as we talk about Orochi. Now, Orochi was probably a character that I don't think too many people were expecting was going to even get a legend. I mean, I guess it does make sense that he was going to get a legend at some point, but I think to many people's opinion, he is probably one of the weakest Super Sugo Fest exclusive. We hope we don't get a Super Sugo Orochi, but I think many people agree to the fact that he's probably one of the weaker Sugo Fest exclusive characters we've actually received this year. I would go as far as to say he probably is a lot weaker than some of the level limit breaks that we've received this year, honestly, as well. Unfortunately, I do think he falls very, very short in terms of his placement in content. I don't think he's going to see too much play. The fact that this character has a special that is focused around Driven and Powerhouse, and also has the ability to provide an orb boost and a color affinity boost, when we literally have Uta's super evolution, the Tot Musica, which literally does the same thing and probably is a little bit better. Obviously, it's a Pirate Rumble legend, so you have to take that as it is at face value. He's probably not focusing on normal content, unlike, you know, Kizaru or Borsalino, wherever his V2 Borsalino and like Smoothie, which those Pirate Rumble legends are actually really good in normal content. I don't see too many cases where Orochi is going to see a lot of play in normal content. He does deserve to be on the list for sure. He has a usable captain, and not a great one, but a usable one, I would say. I think that he deserves to be probably just above Tizor. Probably not even like that. I mean, I could see the argument for him not even being on the list, but because of what he does deserve to be here. But not a very powerful unit, and not a fan favorite legend, that's for sure. Alright, let's go ahead and talk about K-Dad. So we have K-Dad coming up next. Now, I don't think it's very much of a surprise that he is probably going to be in contention of being a top 5 unit, mainly carried by that amazing final tap, which draws a lot of comparison to Luffy and the Straw Hats. But obviously this character is mono slasher focused. He is his crew's dedicated attack booster. He gives you matching slots. He has a wave clearing superclass special. He has -2 cooldown captain, being a pseudo speed farming provider to your character box, which is great. But you have to take all of that in consideration to the fact that he is mono slasher focused. However, you can still use him as a crewmate, and his special does still provide an attack boost to strength slasher and free spirit. So you got a little bit of variety there. And I think the fact that this character gets access to a lot of the scabbards, not all of them, but a lot of them, leaves you a little bit of wiggle room in terms of the supports that you can have on this character too, which is a huge benefit, honestly, across the board. So K-Dad have a lot going for them, but the huge drawback is, like, yeah, you know, they're only mono slasher in terms of their captain, and that can definitely be a bit of an issue in terms of finding utility units, because slashers aren't renowned for having the best utility units in the game. That can definitely hurt them in the long run. But the fact that this character has relatively good synergy with V1 Odin and other slasher free spirit focused characters is actually pretty cool. And obviously with the newly released Zoro, synergizes relatively well with them too. So at the moment, as it stands right now, I don't want to put them in top 5. I think I'm going to put them just below Ace and Yamato, mainly because Ace and Yamato have a really powerful utility effect. And I think that kind of carries them a lot, and also they're an attack booster and a conditional booster. So I think if we're talking about that, I think that Ace and Yamato have a lot more going for them, plus they also have the ability to become a dex unit and a strength unit, whereas K-Dad, you know, they're just a strength unit, they're only slasher focused, they have a really good final tap, and we're not taking anything away from that. But when you compare it to like Luffy crew, for example, who have that final tap, they're also a rainbow unit. They have a special that works in any team. They have a captain that can make any unit that boosts any class or color become universal. I think a lot of people forget that they have that ability. And they also have a super swap that can provide amazing utility. And also all the Straw Hats, so you get access to a premier array of supports on them. So definitely nowhere near the Straw Hats, I would say, but they're relatively close to the level of the top 5. I don't think they're top 5, at least not in my opinion right now, but they're still one of the best legends in the entire game. So the final Sugo Fest exclusive we have to talk about is the new Zoro. So as of me recording this video right now, the Zoro literally just got announced today. So we haven't had too much time to really think and talk about it. But I think that this Zoro, the fact that he doesn't have Super Tandem actually works in more of a bad light for this character. I definitely was expecting this character to have super tandem. The fact that he doesn't have it really hurts him, I think, because you could have done some really cool shenanigans with him. The fact that you could have had all these other additional bonus effects with the character definitely would have elevated him to another level. But because he doesn't have that, you have to take what he has at face value, right? So he's a slasher free spirit captain, and I think that really goes in his favor. Whereas K-Dad, they're only just focusing on slashes. I like the fact that Zoro not only just is a free spirit character in general, but also boosts free spirit and allows you to get access to some of these other characters you may not have thought to be using with Zoro. Characters like Yamato, for example, can work under Zoro. Characters like Monkey D. Luffy, who a lot of them are free spirit, will now work under Zoro. You have this Law can also work under Zoro. Like, Zoro can get access to all these really powerful units now, which is actually really cool, which previously he may not have had that if he was just mono slasher focused. And the fact that his captain ability provides a really unique ability that if you tap with a tandem or a Wano slot, that you enable the ability of boosting your chain multiplier addition effects. He does provide it if you have a tandem or a Wano slot, but the problem with his kit is that he doesn't have a way in his kit to generate those slots for him. Luckily, there are still various ways to give him a tandem or a Wano slot. That is not really going to be that big of an issue. I mean, the fact that you can literally use Legend Hiyori as a support on this character to give you a Wano slot when you reach the final stage, that's pretty cool. And if you have block slots, well, you can use Yamato to change block slots into Wano, and then you get the full board of Wano slots, and then you can get the effect of that. Because when you use this special, when you have a tandem or a Wano slot, you get 1.5 chain boost, which, remember, when you tap with Zoro, that gets buffed. And then also he has the special that if a slasher or a free spirit taps a perfect, you get an additional 0.6 to the chain. So there's going to be really cool situations where you can use like the Zoro and Luffy like as both captains together. You got Zoro with his super class special can provide an attack boost. You've got the orb boost with Luffy, the super tandem with Luffy as well, which gives free spirit additional bonuses. Then you've got access to the huge chain multiplier buffs. You've got base attack boost with Luffy's super class, and also buffing his orb boost as well. There's really cool shenanigans you can do with a slasher free spirit-ish Dex team, and I think that that's probably going to be seeing a little bit of play moving forward when we get into the super boss area of the month of November. I expect there to be a quick boss. I expect Zoro to be one of the premier characters to be using against that content, as well as K-Dad. I would likely be expecting to see a Dex boss, which K-Dad are going to be really, really good against. But in terms of where I'm going to rank Zoro in the grand scheme of things, I think Zoro deserves to be in tier 0, but I don't think he goes that high in tier 0. I think he probably just goes above Odin. I think he'll probably go above Odin for now. Things may change as we move forward, but the fact that he's just essentially, you know, an attack boost super class, he doesn't give you cooldown as a captain, which really hurts him, I think. And then also his special is like just a bit of damage, chain multiply tap bonus, and then also an additional chain multiplier boost. There's not a lot going on with Zoro. There's not a lot to his kit, but what he does have is still pretty good because he can synergize so well with so many other good units. But you don't need Zoro to build good teams, you know, that synergize with him, right? If you don't have Zoro, obviously you can't run the Zoro Luffy team, but you can have a friend captain Zoro Luffy squad. Like, there's still ways to get around it. You don't need Zoro specifically, but he does provide a lot of additional chain focused damage that may help you in certain pieces of content. So I think with all that being said, that is going to wrap it up from me today. I really hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and definitely let me know your thoughts and opinions on the tier list down below in the comment section. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to go ahead and leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all of the content that I post on my channel, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But on that, guys, I will see you guys within the next video.